Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations where we generally look at one or another of the lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the daily office lectionary. And today's Monday, and I thought we would go ahead and take a look at the lesson that's appointed for morning prayer from the first book of Samuel. We're already up to chapter 16, and of course we've gone through Samuel's childhood, and then we've gone through him eventually working in the temple. Hannah, his mother, dedicates him to the service of the temple in thanksgiving for his conception and birth, and then goes on to be the one who anoints Saul as the first king of Israel. And of course, Saul has failed and failed God, and so God has chosen another king to be king over Israel. And so we hear about how that happens today. Chapter 16, beginning at verse number 1. And the Lord said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil and go, and I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. And Samuel said, How can I go? If Saul hear it, he will kill me. And the Lord said, Take an heifer with thee, and say, I am come to sacrifice to the Lord. And call Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show thee what thou shalt do, and thou shalt anoint unto me him whom I name unto thee. And Samuel did which the Lord spake, and came to Bethlehem, and the elders of the town trembled at his coming, and said, Comest thou peaceably? And he said, Peaceably. I am come to sacrifice unto the Lord. Sanctify yourselves, and come with me to the sacrifice. And he sanctified Jesse and his sons, and called them to the sacrifice. And it came to pass that when they were come, that he looked on Eliab, and said, Surely the Lord's anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance, nor on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as a man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. Then Jesse called Abinadab, and made him pass before Samuel, and he said, Neither has the Lord chosen this. Then Jesse made Shammah to pass by, and he said, Neither hath the Lord chosen this. And again Jesse made the 7 of his sons to pass before Samuel. And Samuel said unto Jesse, The Lord hath not chosen these. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Are here all thy children? And he said, There remaineth yet the youngest, and behold, he keepeth the sheep. And Samuel said unto Jesse, Send and fetch him, for we will not sit down till he come hither. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look at. And the Lord said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. So Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. So here we go. Right here we get the story of David. Remember, we talked about the story of Ruth, right? And then Ruth is Jesse's relative. And then from Jesse's seed comes David. And David becomes the great king of Israel. Now, he's not perfect, right? He's not even the wisest king. That'll be his son Solomon. But he's the one who's God's chosen, God's anointed to lead Israel, to gather Israel together after the failure of Saul. And even despite David's personal failings, God is able to use him in a powerful way. And most importantly for us as members of the new covenant is that God has promises to David, and has promised to David, that one of his seed would be the Messiah, the anointed one. He would be the one who would fulfill the promises of God to the people of Israel. And that one of your seed will sit forever on the throne. And so it is true. So, brothers and sisters, Jesus Christ is of the seed of David and is that fulfillment of God's promise. How wonderful. Wonderful is that. And so here we are. So I encourage you, go ahead, read behind, read the stories in the scriptures, read the lessons that are appointed for morning, evening prayer, and then read all the way around them if we don't read sequentially, if we miss bits, and fill in the details, because it's all wonderful and it is all good news. Today's Monday. We have 12:15 Holy Communion and 5 o'clock evening prayer, and you're welcome to join us for both of those or either one of those services, and you can join in person or join us online at stjohnsdetroit.org. And I hope you have a blessed Monday.